Ladies and gentlemen, you're not stuck. You're just too comfortable, and comfort is killing you. Let me tell you something no one else will. Get pissed off. Get genuinely, unapologetically pissed at yourself. At your situation, at the lies you tell yourself every night about trying, and maybe tomorrow. Because nothing changes until you're angry enough to do something about it. You see, society tells you to calm down. To be zen, to just breathe when things get hard. That's loser advice. Winners don't meditate their problems away, they dominate them. You think the most successful people in the world sat in silence and manifested a better life? No, they were pissed off enough to act, to grind, to sacrifice. Anger is one of the most misunderstood emotions in modern society. People are taught to bottle it up, suppress it, or medicate it away, but let me ask you, why? Why are we conditioned to fear our own power? Because that's exactly what anger is. Raw, unfiltered, undeniable power. It's a signal from deep within you saying something is wrong, something needs to change, and you are not okay with accepting it as it is. That's not weakness, that's not dysfunction, that's your soul screaming, wake up. When you get pissed off, really pissed off, you stop tolerating things, you stop tolerating disrespect, you stop tolerating laziness. You stop tolerating failure, mediocrity, and excuses. You snap out of the sleepwalk that most people call life. Most men today are pacified, sedated, numb, and that's exactly why they stay broke, weak, and invisible. Because they've never let themselves get truly, violently uncomfortable with where they are. Anger isn't the enemy, stagnation is, complacency is. A man who is comfortable with mediocrity is far more dangerous to himself than a man burning with rage over his situation. Anger has been the root of revolution. Anger has been the spark behind greatness. Every man who ever built something worth remembering, an empire, a body, a business, a legacy, was first angry enough to want something more. You see, the modern world teaches men to be soft, soft in body, soft in mind, soft in spirit. Don't raise your voice, don't react, just let it go. That advice is not designed to elevate you, it's designed to neuter you. To keep you docile, tamed, harmless, but life does not reward harmless men. Life respects dangerous men who have trained themselves to control the storm within, not suppress it. There's a difference. Controlled anger is fuel. It's not about smashing walls or shouting in traffic. It's about looking at your life and saying, I refuse to stay here. It's the moment you realize you're not where you want to be, and it disgusts you. It's the gut punch of truth that you've been lying to yourself, avoiding the mirror, hiding behind distractions, and then it clicks. You use that anger like gasoline. You channel it into late night work, into hard training, into ruthless discipline. Think about it. Have you ever made a real change in your life when you felt calm, cozy, and comfortable? No. Comfort breeds apathy, but discomfort, rage, frustration, even self-hate, that's what lights the fire. That's when you stop making excuses and start executing. That's when you stop saying, maybe someday, and start saying today, or I die trying. There are two types of men in this world. The first gets angry and wastes it. He shouts, punches a wall, posts a sad quote, and goes back to his lazy routine. The second gets angry and channels it. He doesn't yell. He builds. He doesn't complain. He corrects. His anger doesn't destroy him. It drives him. That's who you need to become. You need to become the kind of man who doesn't run from his emotions. He owns them. Anger is not a liability. It's a signal. It's your body telling you you were meant for more. You were meant to lead, to dominate, to win. But you can't get there smiling your way through life. You need grit. You need edge. You need the kind of fury that says, I will not let another day pass where I live beneath my potential. The truth is, no one's coming to save you. No one cares how tired you are, how unfair life is, or how bad you've had it, but you care, and that anger you feel, that's your weapon. It's the beginning of change, the spark of transformation. The moment you say, enough is enough, you become a threat again. And that's a beautiful thing. Society will call you toxic. Let them. The weak always hate what they don't understand. Let them sit in silence while you build. Let them scroll while you sacrifice. Let them laugh, because they won't be laughing when your anger births results, and your results become undeniable. That's the power of controlled rage. That's the strength of a man who's done being soft. So the next time you feel that fire inside, don't run from it. Don't shame it, respect it, use it. Sit in that rage until it becomes clarity, until it becomes strategy, until it becomes a plan, and then execute that plan like your life depends on it, because it does. Anger is a gift. When you understand it, when you master it, it becomes your edge, the difference between regret and reward, between failure and legacy, between the man you are and the man you were born to be. So go ahead, get pissed off, then go do something about it. Discomfort is not your enemy. Discomfort is your teacher, the best one you'll ever have. In a world obsessed with convenience, comfort, and shortcuts, most people have lost touch with the raw, unfiltered truth. Nothing valuable is built in comfort. Your success, your power, your self-respect, they all begin in pain. In frustration, in that dark, ugly place where nothing feels good, but everything is real, that's the place where men are forged. When you feel discomfort, whether it's physical pain, emotional stress, or mental fatigue, that is your body and your mind sending a signal, we are not there yet. It's a message, not a punishment, but weak men misinterpret that signal. They think it's a sign to stop. They quit, lie down, scroll on their phones, eat junk, and go numb. They run from discomfort like it's a disease. They want progress, but they don't want the price that comes with it. But if you're serious about becoming the man, about building a life people admire and fear, you must embrace discomfort like a mentor. You must shake its hand and say, let's get to work. Let's be real. Every moment you're uncomfortable, you're learning something. When you're sore from the gym, you're learning discipline. When you're broke and grinding, you're learning resourcefulness. When you're rejected, ignored, underestimated, you're learning resilience. These lessons don't come when life is easy. They show up in chaos. They show up in the storm. The problem with comfort is that it creates a false sense of security. It tells you you're okay when you're not. It whispers you don't need to do more, just relax. And little by little you become soft, emotionally soft, physically soft, spiritually soft. You stop pushing. You stop demanding more, you stop fighting, and then what happens? You wake up at 30, 40, 50, with a gut, a weak mind, a dead bank account, and a lifetime of should, haves and could haves. Why? Because you avoided discomfort. Because you made every decision based on what felt good in the moment, not what would make you great in the future. Pain is the most honest feedback you'll ever receive. If your muscles hurt, you're growing. If your mind is exhausted, you're evolving. If your ego is bruised, you're leveling up. You don't improve when things are easy. You improve when you're forced to adapt, to stretch, to overcome. So here's the truth. If you want to change, stop chasing pleasure and start chasing pressure. Wake up earlier than you want to, lift heavier than you think you can, work longer than you feel like, speak when you're afraid to, invest when you're uncertain. Discomfort is the path, and cowards don't walk it. It's in the discomfort where most people quit, and that's exactly why it's valuable. That's what separates the 1% from the rest. Most people will avoid pain at all costs. They'll sell out their dreams for comfort. But not you. You're not here to live a life of ease. You're here to build a life that commands respect, and that means choosing discomfort every single day until it becomes second nature. You think warriors become warriors in silk robes and air-conditioned rooms. No, they become who they are because they are forced to be uncomfortable over and over again until their mind becomes unbreakable. Until the suffering doesn't scare them anymore, it empowers them. The same is true for you. You don't need another motivational quote. You need to sit in the discomfort long enough to hear the truth about yourself. Are you weak? Then train. Are you broke? Then hustle. Are you lost? Then start walking. Every answer you need is on the other side of discomfort, but you'll never get there if you keep tapping out every time it gets hard. Life is supposed to be hard. That's where the value is. That's where the breakthroughs are. That's where the real version of you is hiding. Behind the discomfort you keep dodging, so don't resent it, don't fear it, welcome it, seek it out, be the man who's not afraid to suffer because he knows what it builds. Pain is temporary, comfort is a trap, and you were not born for the trap. You were born to dominate it. Let everyone else chase comfort. Let them waste their lives in fake happiness and short-term pleasure. You're not them, you're built for more, and if you want more, you'll have to earn it in the trenches, in the silence, in the daily grind that no one claps for. But everyone respects when they see the results. Discomfort is your mentor. Learn the lessons, apply the pressure, and evolve. Most people walk through life like robot, numb, disconnected, passive. They say they want success, they say they want freedom, but they don't feel it. They don't burn for it. That's why they fail. Because what drives a man to rise is not just knowledge, not just discipline, it's emotional leverage. It's when your emotions finally become so powerful, so undeniable, that they force you to act. You see, emotion is energy. It's not weakness. It's not something to calm down. It's something to harness. And when you use emotion the right way, you become unstoppable. Most men are taught to suppress what they feel. Society tells you to be rational, to be chill, to stay level-headed. That advice creates dead men walking, men who feel nothing, risk nothing, build nothing. But look at the most successful people in the world. The fighters, the CEO, the billionaires, the legends. They didn't get there because they were indifferent. They got there because they were obsessed. They got there because they were angry about being poor, because they were sick of being ignored, because they were hungry for a better life. Their emotions were a weapon, and they used them like fire to burn through every excuse in their way. Here's the truth: until your situation makes you emotional, you won't change. If being broke doesn't piss you off, you'll stay broke. If being out of shape doesn't disgust you, you'll stay soft. If being average doesn't disturb you, you'll stay invisible. Real change doesn't come from motivation. It comes from pain. It comes from frustration. It comes from the moment you say, "I've had enough." Let that emotion cook. Let it get hot inside your chest. Let it eat at you until the only option left is action. When you feel emotional leverage, real emotional leverage, you don't need a reminder to go hard. You wake up with urgency. You train with intensity. You work like your life depends on it. Because now it actually does. Emotion makes things personal, and when something becomes personal, you fight for it. Most people don't fight because they're numb. They've dulled their emotions with distraction, scrolling, junk food, fake dopamine. They feel a flicker of pain and immediately sedate it instead of sitting in it, learning from it, using it. Don't be like them. Feel the emotion and then transform it into power. That feeling of embarrassment when you can't afford something. Use it. That rage when someone disrespects you, use it. That heartbreak, that fear, that shame, good. Use it all, because here's the fact: emotion drives action, and the man who can control that force without letting it destroy him becomes a weapon. You don't need to suppress your emotions. You need to aim them, use them as fuel. Let them push you into discomfort. Let them amplify your focus. Let them shatter your laziness. Emotion is your internal engine. And when it's fired up, there's no excuse strong enough to stop you. But remember, emotional leverage without direction is chaos. You need to pair it with strategy. Don't just feel, build. Don't just burn, forge. Take that anger, that pain, that desperation, and create a plan. Set a goal, make it real, then act on it relentlessly until the feeling becomes results. That's how greatness is built. That's how men are made. You don't become a warrior by staying neutral. You become one by tapping into the primal force within you and commanding it. Emotional leverage is like having a beast inside. Most men either fear the beast or let it go wild. You need to tame it, train it, and use it as your greatest asset. You want to be rich. You want to be respected. You want freedom. You better get emotional about it. You better want it so badly that it haunts your thoughts, that it consumes your time, that it infects your habits, that you can't rest until it's real. That's not obsession. That's purpose with emotion behind it. And when that becomes your fuel, guess what happens? People notice. You move different. You think different. You refuse mediocrity. You command respect without even speaking. That's the power of emotional leverage. It turns a normal man into a focused machine. So ask yourself, what's got you emotional? What have you been suppressing? What pain are you running from instead of using that pain? That fire is your advantage, but only if you channel it, only if you let it lead you into action. Most people wait until rock bottom to change, but you don't need to wait. You just need to feel the fire, let it drive you, let it carry you to the next level, because the moment you combine emotion and action, the world won't be able to stop you. That's emotional leverage, and that's what separates the elite from the average. Being average should offend you. Let that sink in. The idea that you're just getting by, doing the bare minimum, blending in with the crowd, it should make your blood boil. Because deep down, you know you weren't built for average. You weren't put on this planet to just exist, to coast, to survive. You were meant to dominate, to conquer, to be exceptional. And the only reason you're not, if you aren't already, is because you've allowed yourself to accept something beneath you. Average is the slowest form of death. It's the daily decay of dreams. You don't feel it all at once. It's not a slap in the face. It's subtle, it's easy, it's convenient, and that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. One day of skipping your workout turns into a week. One excuse turns into a lifestyle. One comfortable decision becomes a chain of mediocrity that locks you in a life you never truly wanted. And suddenly you're in your 30s or 40s looking back at a life full of maybes and should-haves. That should piss you off. It should light a fire in you that says, never again. You look around and the world is full of average people. Average effort, average health, average income, average confidence, average energy, and worst of all, most of them are proud of it. They defend their mediocrity like it's a badge of honor. At least I'm trying. Not everyone can be successful. I'm doing better than some. Listen carefully. Those are loser words. That's the vocabulary of a man who has surrendered his potential and settled for scraps. You know what average really means. It means you're not pushing yourself. It means you're capable of more and you're choosing not to chase it. And the problem with most men today is that no one has ever looked them in the eye and said, "You're better than this. Well, I will." You're better than this. You have more inside you than what you've shown the world so far. But until you get angry about settling for less, you'll keep settling for less. See, greatness doesn't come to the relaxed. It comes to the relentless. It comes to the man who sees average and feels disgust, not comfort. The man who looks around and says, "I'm not like them, I want more, I will not end up like them." That man is dangerous. That man is rare. That man changes his world and everyone in it. Ask yourself, when did you stop demanding greatness from yourself? Was it after school, after your first failure, after a relationship broke you? When did you start telling yourself that this is good enough? That mindset is the poison. That's the virus you need to destroy. Because the truth is, every time you accept average, you are silently telling the world that you are okay with being forgettable. Do you want to be forgotten? Of course not. No real man wants to be invisible. We want to be remembered. We want to leave a mark. But average men never leave a legacy. They live small, they die small, and they vanish into history like they never existed. Not you. You're not going to be the guy who looks back with regret. You're going to be the guy who burns every bridge to mediocrity and never looks back. But that change starts with rage, with dissatisfaction, with the refusal to settle. Get angry at the fact that your body isn't where it should be. Get furious that your bank account is weak. Get pissed that your daily routine doesn't reflect the champion mindset you claim to have. And once you're truly disgusted with average, everything changes, your habits change, your mindset sharpens, your standards rise, you start making decisions from a place of vision, not comfort. That's when the shift happens. That's when you start becoming the man you were meant to be. But remember, this isn't about perfection, it's about progress with pressure. Every single day you wake up and say, "I will not be like them." You say, "I will push, I will rise, I will fight," not for applause. Not for likes, but because average is an insult, and you refuse to be insulted by your own life. You weren't built to fit in. You were built to rise above, and that starts when you stop tolerating the average version of yourself. The soft, excuse-making, lazy version, kill him, replace him with a man of fire, a man of hunger, a man of action, because in the end you either live life on your feet, pushing for more, or you die slowly on your knees, buried by comfort and excuses. And I promise you this, no man ever looked back on his life and said, "I'm proud I stayed average." So don't just live, lead, don't just survive, stand out, and don't just be good enough. Be unstoppable. You can feel inspired all day. You can feel angry, sad, motivated, frustrated, excited, passionate. But if you don't do something with that emotion, if you don't act, then none of it matters. It's wasted fuel. It's lightning in a bottle you never open, and that's why most people stay stuck, because they confuse feeling something with becoming something. How many times have you said, "This time it's different," because you felt fired up in the moment? You watched a video, heard a speech, saw someone winning in life and thought, "Yes, that's it, I'm going to change." And then what? 2 days later, nothing's changed. You're back to scrolling, back to skipping workouts, back to your average routine. Why? Because emotion wore off and there was no action behind it to build momentum. This is the trap of modern men. They've been trained to feel but not to act. They drown in emotion. They vent, they talk about their dreams, they make vision boards, but they don't move, they don't execute. They confuse mental stimulation for progress. But let me tell you something real. Thinking about doing the work is not the work. You're allowed to feel, you're supposed to, but feelings alone won't make you rich. They won't make you strong. They won't build the business. They won't get you respect. That only happens when emotion transforms into motion. And that bridge between emotion and motion is called discipline. Discipline is what takes your emotional state and turns it into real results. You feel angry about being broke. Good. Go get money. Start a business. Learn a skill, work until your bank balance silences the anger. You feel insecure about your body. Good. Start training. Eat clean. Get stronger. Turn your shame into a 6. Back in confidence. You feel like you've wasted time. Perfect. Now stop wasting it. Every minute you sit in self-pity is another minute you prove your own fear correct. This is what separates the winners from the watchers. The watchers feel, but they freeze. The winners feel, and then they build. Let's say you're pissed off, you hate where you are, you hate who you've become. That anger is not a curse, it's a gift, but only if you do something with it. Action is the therapy. Discipline is the medicine, and movement, consistent, painful, strategic movement, is what will take you out of hell and into power. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. Action is boring, it's repetitive. It's quiet, it's not sexy. That's why emotional guys struggle. They want action to feel exciting all the time, but the winners, the warriors, they don't care about feelings, they care about output. They don't need to feel ready. They act because the mission is bigger than the emotion. You don't need to feel like it. You need to do it. You don't need another hype video. You need a calendar, a routine, a grind. You need to show up when it sucks. You need to work when you're tired. You need to push even when there's no applause. That's what makes a man lethal. That's what makes a man rare. Anyone can cry, anyone can vent, but not everyone can wake up and execute. Not everyone can feel pain and choose progress. Not everyone can take rage and turn it into results. That's your edge. That's what separates you from the herd. You want to win. Then every time you feel something powerful, attach it to a task. Don't just think, "I'm going to change." Write it down, create a plan, do 10 push-ups right now, message that client, start that page, burn the bridge to your old self with consistent action, not emotional hype. Because guess what? Feelings lie, they fade, but action compounds. Action builds confidence. Action creates results. Action is what turns you into the man you dream of being, and don't mistake this for robot thinking. It's the opposite. This is mastery. This is emotional intelligence at its highest level, the ability to feel deeply but act decisively. That's what makes kings. That's what creates legends. That's what earns real, lasting power. So stop being the guy who always says, "This time I mean it." Be the guy who shuts up, locks in, and just does the work over and over until your life reflects your emotion in the form of empire. Emotion without action is noise. Emotion with action is legacy. Now go prove it. So now you've heard it all. You've been told the truth no one else will tell you, not your parents, not your teachers, not your so-called friends. The truth is, you've been too calm for too long. Too passive, too soft, and it's destroying you. You need to get pissed off. Pissed off that you're behind. Pissed off that you're not where you should be. Pissed off that you've been sleeping on your own potential while weaker men are eating your lunch and living your dream. Anger is your wake-up call, discomfort is your classroom, emotion is your weapon, and action is your only option. This world doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care how tired you are, how hard your past was, or how many times you almost tried. The only thing this world respects is results, and those come from men who are willing to suffer, sacrifice, and strike back when life punches them in the mouth. If you're still sitting around waiting for the right moment, waiting for motivation, waiting to be ready, you've already lost. The winners, they move through the chaos, they feel the fire and they fan it. They turn their rage into routines, their frustration into focus, and their setbacks into fuel. You can either keep living like everyone else, quietly miserable, slowly dying inside, pretending everything's fine. Or you can flip the switch. You can get pissed off enough to demand more, to chase what's yours, to become a weapon, to become a leader, to become dangerous. This speech wasn't just meant to inspire you. It was meant to ignite you. Now it's on you. You've got the fire. Now you must choose. Will you burn it all down and rebuild yourself stronger? Or will you stay soft, stay safe, stay average? Only one of those choices leads to power. Only one of them leads to legacy. Get pissed off and go get what's yours.